You have a choice. Find out how to make the right choice in this episode of 5 Minutes Closer. I'm Vaughn Weatherford, and this is 5 Minutes Closer. For the next 5 minutes, let's explore some biblical truths and apply them to your life. No podcast, including this one, can transform your life or give you what you really need. Only Jesus can do that. You can find out why in what I've called the first five episodes of 5 Minutes Closer. Each following episode explores scriptural truths that, if you follow them, will bring you 5 minutes closer to the person God created you to be. Let's see if we can get you 5 minutes closer. Cain and Abel illustrate two choices in life, choices we all have to make. The correct choice makes all the difference. Here's what the Bible says in Genesis chapter 4, verses 3 through 5. In the course of time, Cain brought to the Lord an offering of the fruit of the ground, and Abel also brought of the firstborn of his flock and of their fat portions. And the Lord had regard for Abel and his offering, but for Cain and his offering he had no regard. So Cain was very angry, and his face fell. What's going on here? Why did God accept Abel's offering, but not Cain's? We find the answer in Cain and Abel's reason for making the offering in the first place. Our offerings to God are a tangible way of acknowledging that everything we have comes from God. Abel brought the firstborn of his flock, the very best. Cain, on the other hand, just brought some leftover grain. Abel acknowledges the God of creation, while Cain just goes through the motions. Cain brought an offering to manipulate God into serving him better. Abel brought an offering to acknowledge that he served God. Cain treated God like a waiter at a restaurant. God brought him some supper, so Cain leaves a nice tip. Abel saw himself as waiting upon God, as serving the Lord. Like a special guest in his home, Abel wanted to give God his very best. Abel saw himself as God's servant. Cain saw himself as a customer down at the IHOP. Cain came to fulfill an obligation. Abel came to worship. Cain came to pay his dues. Abel came to give thanks. Cain came because he had to. Abel came because he wanted to. The New Testament gives us some help in discerning what happened. 1 John 3:12 describes what went wrong. Hebrews 11:4 describes what went right. 1 John 3:12 describes the difference in the heart of the two brothers. There the Bible says, "We should not be like Cain, who was of the evil one and murdered his brother." And why did he murder him? Because his own deeds were evil and his brother's righteous. Cain did what he did because of who he was. The problem wasn't his offering, the problem was his heart. Hebrews 11:4 puts it in positive terms. There the Bible says, "By faith Abel offered to God a more acceptable sacrifice than Cain, through which he was commended as righteous, God commending him by accepting his gifts. And through his faith, though he died, he still speaks." The difference was Abel's faith. Cain brought an offering because he knew he was supposed to bring an offering. Abel brought an offering because he genuinely believed in the God he worshiped. One brother is remembered in infamy. The other brother is remembered in the list of people of faith. Every cook knows there's one ingredient that makes the recipe, like chocolate chip cookies. You need the chocolate chips. It's not a chocolate chip cookie without them. Or peanut butter cookies. You need the peanut butter and the fork to make the little square things on the top. Sometimes it's in the name. Sometimes it's that secret ingredient that only Grandma knows. But whatever it is, the recipe's not complete without it. What's the ingredient necessary to serve God? Faith. What do we believe about God? Is God there to serve us, or are we here to serve God? Is a personal relationship with Christ the only way to salvation, or could we make ourselves right with God on our own? Faith makes all the difference. Don't make the same mistake Cain made. Don't miss the one thing that matters. We give our offerings, we worship, and we serve, not because we have to, not because of what we gain. We give, worship, and serve because of who God is. Faith makes the difference. What's in the heart matters. And now, you're 5 minutes closer. My prayer is that these 5 minutes have challenged you, inspired you, and caused you to consider applying God's message for your life from His Word. To find out more, visit our website at 5minutescloser.com. Join me next time to see if we can get you 5 minutes closer.